In the flickering twilight of a Roman evening, the bustling streets of the Forum grew quiet, the chatter of citizens fading into the whispers of the night. Lanterns swayed gently from the stone arches, casting shadows that danced upon the marbled facades of the temples and villas. Here, among the remnants of grandeur, a young woman named Livia stood at the edge of a cobblestone path, her heart pounding like the drums of a distant festival. Tonight was her first date, a rare moment of stolen time, when the rigid expectations of patrician society softened just enough to allow for a flicker of romance. Livia's father, a respected senator, had arranged her betrothal to a man of wealth and influence. A union forged not from love, but from the cold steel of political ambition. Yet, her heart belonged to Marcus, a mere centurion, whose spirit shone brighter than the finest gold. He had captured her attention not with opulence, but with laughter and tales of valor, shared in secret beneath the boughs of an olive tree. The Lupercalia festival loomed near, a time when the boundaries of propriety seemed to blur, and the air thrummed with possibilities. As she waited, the sweet scent of blooming violets filled the air, mingling with the faint aroma of spiced wine from a nearby tavern. Each moment stretched like the taut string of a lyre, poised to break at the first touch of reality. Would she dare defy her father's wishes? Would Marcus, with his calloused hands and dreams of glory, risk everything to claim her heart? In a world where love was often tethered by duty and class, their story was one of passion and peril, a tapestry woven with threads of hope and yearning. Tonight, under the watchful gaze of the gods, they would write their own fate, one fleeting glance at a time, setting the scene in ancient Rome. In the heart of ancient Rome, where marble columns reached toward the ever-watchful gods and the murmur of the Tiber mingled with the laughter of citizens, love, like a delicate vine, intertwined itself through every facet of life. The vibrant city pulsed with energy, its streets alive with merchants hawking their wares, children chasing one another, and the occasional regal procession that made even the most mundane moments feel historic. It was here, amidst the grandeur and simplicity, that the concept of a first date took on a unique and tender shape, particularly for those caught in the web of societal expectations and familial ties. For the patrician class, where wealth and lineage determined one's standing, courtship was often a strategic endeavor rather than a romantic escapade. Families would carefully arrange unions that promised to bolster their influence, and young women like Livia, daughter of a prominent senator, found themselves trapped in a gilded cage. Her days were filled with lessons in poetry and music, yet her heart longed for something more than the cold touch of duty. As the festival of Lupercalia approached, a time of revelry and potential romance, Livia's heart fluttered with hope. For this was a time when the boundaries of propriety might soften, if only for a moment. It was said that during this festival, young men would don the skins of sacrificed goats and run through the streets, striking those they encountered with strips of leather to promote fertility and love. Livia, with her dark curls framing a face of delicate beauty, yearned for a fleeting chance to meet someone beyond the confines of her expectations. Meanwhile, in the barracks outside the city, Marcus, a soldier recently returned from the front lines, dreamed of home and the warmth of a loved one. His hands, scarred from battle, clutched a letter. His heart's only companion during long nights under foreign stars. In it, he poured his soul, writing to a girl he had glimpsed in the market, a girl whose laughter echoed in his mind like music. He had seen her once, her vibrant tunic contrasting with the drabness of the afternoon, and in that moment, she became the sun breaking through his darkest hours. The day of Lupercalia arrived, and the streets of Rome were a tapestry of color and sound. Livia, dressed in a flowing white stola adorned with delicate embroidery, allowed herself to be swept into the festive spirit. She danced amidst the throngs, her laughter mingling with the joyous cries of the crowd. It was here, amidst the chaos, that she caught sight of Marcus, his strong form moving with the grace of a lion, his eyes searching for something, or perhaps someone, in the crowd. As fate would have it, their paths crossed. Livia felt her heart race, not from the thrill of the festival but from the intensity of his gaze. In that fleeting moment, they exchanged a look, one of wonder, of recognition, and of a longing that transcended the rigid expectations that bound them. The world around them faded, and in their hearts, they felt the stirrings of a connection that could not be denied. Yet, as quickly as it began, the moment threatened to dissolve. Livia's father, ever vigilant for the preservation of his family's honor, caught sight of the pair, his expression darkening at the idea of his daughter mingling with a mere soldier. As he approached, Livia's heart sank, knowing that her chance at love was slipping away. She turned to Marcus, her eyes pleading, and in that unspoken language, they vowed to defy the odds. In the days that followed, Marcus wrote to Livia, his letters filled with sweet nothings and promises of a future that felt as fragile as the parchment they were written on. He spoke of the beauty of the world beyond the walls of Rome, where their love could flourish free from the chains of societal expectations. Livia, in turn, penned her responses in secret, weaving dreams of a life where love reigned supreme, where they could dance under the stars unencumbered by the weight of their worlds. Yet, the shadows of reality loomed larger with each passing day. The specter of an arranged marriage awaited Livia, and Marcus faced the grim prospect of returning to battle, his heart torn between duty and desire. Their love, though sweet and intoxicating, was a fragile bloom in a garden of thorns, and as the festival faded into memory, so too did the fleeting hope of their union. In the grand tapestry of ancient Rome, their love story, like many, was written with the ink of longing and the quill of heartache, reminding those who dared to love that even in the face of insurmountable odds, the heart's whisper could never truly be silenced. As the sun set over the bustling streets of Rome, casting a golden hue upon the marble facades, Livia stood at her window, heart racing with the anticipation of the Lupercalia festival. The air was thick with the scent of olive oil and roasted meats, mingling with the joyous laughter of revelers below. Each pulse of the city echoed her longing for Marcus, the centurion whose mere glance had ignited a fire within her soul. Dressed in a flowing white tunic, she blended into the throng, her spirit soaring amidst the music and dance, yet bound by the shackles of her impending arranged marriage. It was a union forged in the cold fires of political ambition, far removed from the warmth of love she craved. As the evening unfolded, their eyes met across the crowd, a fleeting moment, yet it spoke volumes. In that gaze, unspoken promises flickered like the torches illuminating the path of their forbidden love. The world around them faded, leaving only the electricity of their connection, a stark contrast to the constraints of their social standings. But the specter of Livia's father loomed large, a reminder of duty and expectation. In secret, they exchanged letters, each stroke of the quill a testament to their dreams of escape, of a love untainted by the harsh realities of Roman society. Yet, as the festival drew to a close, the shadows of their circumstances crept in, threatening to extinguish the spark that had ignited their hearts. Love in ancient Rome was a dance of light and dark, a bittersweet melody that echoed through the ages, a reminder that even amidst the grandeur of a city built on power and prestige, the heart's longing remains a force that no decree can silence. Social class and love customs. In the heart of ancient Rome, where the sun bathed the forum in golden light and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the bustling streets, love was often a precarious dance, dictated by the rigid structures of social class and custom. Aurelia, a daughter of a modest merchant, stood at the threshold of her father's shop, her heart pounding like the rhythm of the city. Today was the day she would meet Gaius, the son of a patrician, a moment that felt both thrilling and forbidden. The sun hung low in the sky as Gaius approached, his confident stride echoing the privilege of his lineage. Clad in a tunic that bespoke his status, he was everything Aurelia had dreamed of, yet she felt the weight of their differences pressing down like the oppressive Roman summer. Their families, worlds apart, had conspired to keep them from one another, yet fate, it seemed, had other plans. They had chosen to meet at the Temple of Venus, a place where the whispers of lovers mingled with the rustle of olive trees. As Aurelia entered, she was struck by the ethereal beauty of the temple. The marble statues of Venus and her attendants seemed to watch over them, almost blessing their illicit meeting. Gaius stood there, a smile illuminating his handsome features, and in that moment, the world outside faded away. "Are you not afraid?" he asked, his voice low, laced with a hint of mischief. "If my father knew I was here with you, he would." "Disown you," Aurelia finished, her lips curving into a wry smile. She felt the thrill of rebellion course through her veins. "And if my father caught me here, he would have my head." They shared a laugh, the sound mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. Gaius reached for her hand, his touch sending a ripple of warmth through her. "Let us not speak of our families today. Instead, let us speak of what is in our hearts." Aurelia's heart raced, caught between the allure of his words and the reality of their situation. "But Gaius, our hearts are shackled by the chains of duty. My father has arranged for me to marry Lucius, a man of wealth and power. You must know this." Gaius's brow furrowed, his grip tightening around her hand. "I would rather face a legion of soldiers than see you wed to a man who does not understand the beauty of your spirit. You deserve more than a life dictated by wealth and lineage." "Yet it is the life I must accept," Aurelia whispered, the weight of inevitability crashing down upon her. In that moment, she felt trapped, as if the very walls of the temple were closing in. "A patrician cannot love a plebeian, Gaius. Our love is a flower destined to wither in the harsh sun of reality." The shadows of the temple grew longer as the sun sank lower, casting a warm glow around them. "Perhaps we can find a way," Gaius declared. "I could write to you. Letters can bridge the gap between our worlds. I will be a soldier, and I will fight for our love, even from the battlefield." Tears pricked her eyes at the thought of being separated. "You would risk everything for me?" "For you, I would risk my very name," he promised, his gaze unwavering. "Let us not forget what we have here, in this moment. We are more than our titles, more than our duties. We are two souls intertwined under the watchful gaze of the gods." As they stood together, the weight of their predicament lent a bittersweet edge to their burgeoning romance. The festival of Lupercalia loomed on the horizon. A time when the boundaries of love might blur. Yet their hearts knew the truth. They were bound by the invisible threads of society, and no festival could sever those cords. In that sacred space, they exchanged a simple vow, a promise sealed with a kiss that tasted of despair and hope. As they parted, Aurelia felt the chill of reality settle in her bones, yet her heart remained alight with the warmth of their stolen moment. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the temple in twilight, yet in the depths of her soul, she knew their love would endure, no matter the trials that lay ahead. Thus, with a heart full of yearning and a mind heavy with the weight of duty, Aurelia stepped back into the world, knowing that their love, though fraught with challenges, was a flame that would light the darkest of paths in ancient Rome. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the bustling streets of Rome, Livia stood at her window, heart heavy with unspoken longing. The air was thick with the scent of blooming laurels from the Lupercalia festival, a time when the very essence of love seemed to transcend rigid social boundaries. Yet, for Livia, the joy of the festival was shadowed by the weight of her impending arranged marriage, a union of power that threatened to extinguish the flame of her heart. Across the city, Marcus, clad in the humble garb of a soldier, penned a letter beneath the flickering light of a tallow candle. Each stroke of the stylus was a testament to his devotion, a bridge across the chasm of their worlds. "In every battle I face, it is your visage that guides me," he wrote, the ink mingling with the fervor of his emotions. The thought of Livia's laughter, her captivating smile, stirred a tempest within him, fueling his resolve to challenge fate. Under the cloak of night, the festival's revelry provided a fleeting escape. Livia, adorned in a simple white tunic, slipped away from her family's villa, heart racing with each step toward the crowded forum. There, amidst the throngs of masked revelers, she caught a glimpse of Marcus, his presence a beacon in the chaos. Their eyes met, and time seemed to stand still. The world around them faded, leaving only the intoxicating promise of love. Yet, as they embraced in that fleeting moment, the specter of reality loomed large. They were a soldier and a senator's daughter, bound by duty yet yearning for freedom. With whispered words, they forged a pact, a vow to defy the constraints of their birthright, to seek a love that transcended the expectations of their families. But as the laughter of the festival echoed around them, Livia knew that the path ahead was fraught with peril, and that their love, though fierce and unwavering, would be tested by the very fabric of Roman society. Still, in their hearts burned a hope that love could prevail, igniting a fire that no political alliance or societal expectation could extinguish. As the festival reached its zenith, they danced briefly among the shadows, cherishing the sweetness of their stolen moments, aware that even amidst the grand tapestry of ancient Rome, their love was a story worth fighting for. A night of chance encounters. The Lupercalia festival, a night of chance encounters. As twilight descended upon the ancient city of Rome, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation and the intoxicating aroma of spiced wine. The Lupercalia festival, an age-old celebration dedicated to fertility and purification, enveloped the citizens in its fervent embrace. Lanterns flickered like stars plucked from the heavens, casting playful shadows upon the cobblestone streets, where laughter and excitement intertwined with the rhythmic beats of drums. Among the throngs of revelers, a young woman named Aurelia stood out, her dark hair cascading like a waterfall down her back. She was of the plebeian class, the daughter of a modest merchant, and her heart beat with both hope and trepidation. For tonight, her father had granted her the rare privilege to participate in the festivities, a fleeting escape from the constraints of her daily life. Yet, beneath the joy of the festival lay the weight of an impending arranged marriage to a wealthy patrician, a union that would secure her family's social standing but crush her own desires. As she wandered through the bustling forum, Aurelia's gaze fell upon a group of young men clad in goatskins, the Luperci, who were preparing to partake in the ritualistic rites. They would soon run through the streets, striking women with strips of leather, believed to bestow fertility. The thought both thrilled and unnerved her. But tonight, she had only one wish. A moment of connection with a soul who could see beyond her status. Just as Aurelia turned to leave the thrumming crowd, a tall figure caught her eye. Marcus, a soldier recently returned from the frontier, stood at the edge of the festivities, his uniform still dusted with the remnants of battle. He was of a higher social class, a patrician by birth, and yet there was a warmth in his hazel eyes that spoke of kindness and understanding. Their eyes met, and in that instant, the clamor of the festival faded, leaving only the sound of their hearts. "Would you care to join me?" Marcus asked, his voice low and inviting. Aurelia felt a flutter in her chest as she nodded, her heart racing. They slipped away from the crowd, seeking solace beneath the boughs of an ancient olive tree, its gnarled branches heavy with the weight of centuries. As they settled onto the grassy roots, Aurelia felt a sense of freedom wash over her. "You should be celebrating with your friends," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus chuckled softly, his gaze sweeping the festive scene. "And you should be dancing, my lady. Yet, here we are, two strangers in a world filled with merriment." His expression turned earnest. "Tell me, what do you long for, Aurelia?" Her heart swelled at the sound of her name on his lips. "I long for a life unbound by the expectations of others," she confessed, her words pouring forth like a river unleashed. "To love freely, without the chains of status or duty. But such dreams are for the foolish." "Foolishness is often the seed of great things," Marcus replied, his eyes sparkling with conviction. "I have seen the horrors of war, and I know that life is too short to live in fear." He took her hand, the warmth of his touch igniting a spark of hope within her. What if we dared to dream together? Before she could respond, the sound of jubilant laughter erupted nearby, and the Lupercalia emerged, their playful cries echoing through the night. They ran through the streets, leather straps raised high, and Aurelia felt a rush of exhilaration. The festival was a night of chance encounters, of dreams colliding amid the chaos, and she found herself drawn to Marcus like a moth to a flame. As they watched the revelry, Marcus leaned closer, the scent of leather and sandalwood enveloping her senses. "Aurelia," he murmured, "if I could carry you away from this place, I would. We could find a hidden valley, where the world's expectations do not bind us." But the weight of reality crashed down upon her. "Your family would never accept me," she replied, her voice trembling. "I am but a merchant's daughter, destined for a life of servitude in another's household." Tears threatened to spill from her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "Then let us carve our own path," he urged, his grip tightening around her hand. "Meet me here again, under the olive tree, when the moon is high. I will write to you, and we shall find a way." In that moment the world around them faded, leaving only the promise of a future uncharted, and as the night deepened, Aurelia felt a mix of hope and despair. She nodded, sealing their pact with a lingering gaze, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, yet emboldened by the sweetness of their connection. As the festival carried on, the echoes of laughter and the warmth of shared dreams enveloped them, a fragile thread of love woven amidst the chaos of the night. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting a golden hue across the bustling streets of Rome, Livia stood by her window, the scent of blooming roses wafting through the air, blending with the distant echoes of laughter from the Lupercalia festival. Her heart raced, torn between the gilded cage of her impending arranged marriage and the wild, unfettered dreams that Marcus had ignited within her. On the eve of the festival, she had received a letter, its parchment warm from the touch of his hands, each word a whisper of hope and daring. Marcus, with ink-stained fingers, had poured his soul into that missive, recounting tales of valor and longing, his love a beacon amidst the chaos of war. The promise of their clandestine meeting glimmered like a star in the night sky, bright yet elusive. As the festival began, laughter mingled with the rhythmic beats of drums, and the air thrummed with youthful exuberance. Livia, adorned in a flowing tunic of delicate white, slipped into the throng, her heart pounding with anticipation. When her gaze met Marcus across the crowd, time seemed to suspend. The world around them faded, leaving only the electric connection that spanned the distance between their hearts. Yet, as they approached, the shadow of her father loomed large, a reminder of duty and societal expectations, threatening to snuff out their flickering flame. In that moment, Livia understood the cruel irony of love in Rome, where the heart yearned for freedom, but the chains of lineage and honor bound it tightly. With a brave smile and a fleeting touch of her hand, she whispered promises of tomorrow, knowing that even amidst the harsh realities, their love was a sweet rebellion, an echo of hope against the backdrop of a world built on constraints. In the heart of Rome, where love danced with despair under the watchful eyes of gods and men, Livia and Marcus knew that their story was but a fragile thread in the tapestry of fate. One that would endure, against all odds, as long as their hearts beat in unison. Forbidden love across social boundaries. Letters from the heart. Forbidden love across social boundaries. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the cobblestone streets of Rome in hues of crimson and gold, Claudia, the daughter of a patrician, found herself standing before a grand colonnade, her heart racing in anticipation. It was the eve of the Lupercalia festival, a time when the air thrummed with merriment and the scent of roasted meats and spiced wine wafted through the bustling city. Yet amidst the revelry, her thoughts dwelled solely on Lucius, a humble soldier recently returned from the front lines of Gaul. With the festival's onset, Claudia was expected to partake in the traditional customs, dancing and feasting. But all she desired was to meet Lucius beneath the shadow of the Palatine Hill. away from the prying eyes of her family and their expectations. The weight of her father's ambitions pressed heavily upon her, as he sought a noble match for her, one that would elevate the family's status further within the patrician class. But her heart, wild and untamed, yearned for a love that transcended the rigid constraints of their society. As the moon hung high, casting a silvery glow upon the marble statues that adorned the gardens, Claudia slipped away from the festivities, her white stola flowing like water around her ankles. Lucius awaited her at the appointed spot, his figure silhouetted against the moonlight. The sight of him sent a flurry of butterflies through her chest. He was not merely a soldier, he was brave, kind, and had seen the world beyond the walls of her father's estate. "Claudia," he breathed, his voice a low murmur that seemed to echo in the stillness, "you came." "I could not bear to miss this moment," she replied, her cheeks flushed. The world around them faded as they stepped closer, the chaos of Lupercalia a distant memory. He reached for her hand, and though it was a simple gesture, it felt as if he were pulling her into a realm where social classes did not exist, where love was the sole currency. "Do you think we will ever be free?" Lucius asked, his brow furrowing with concern. "Free to love without the chains of duty?" Claudia's heart ached at the thought. There was a tenderness in his gaze, a vulnerability that made her want to shield him from the harsh realities of their world. "Perhaps not in this life, but we can dream, Lucius." She paused, the weight of her impending fate pressing down upon her. "My father has arranged a marriage for me, a senator's son. The wedding will be soon." His face fell, the warmth of their moment dissipating into the night air. "You deserve to choose, Claudia. Not to be a pawn in a game of politics." They shared a long silence, their hands still intertwined, as if the touch alone could defy the power of their circumstances. But the truth loomed heavy, a specter haunting their fleeting moments together. "I shall write to you," Lucius finally said, determination igniting in his eyes. "From the battlefield, I will send letters. I will tell you of my days, and perhaps you shall find solace in my words." Claudia nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. "And I shall keep your letters close, a reminder that love can exist even within the confines of duty." As the festival's laughter echoed in the distance, they stole a final embrace, a brief moment suspended in time where the world faded away. Lucius pressed a small piece of parchment into her palm. The first of many letters, a promise of love that would transcend the barriers of their lives. Days turned into weeks, each letter a lifeline amidst the suffocating expectations of her impending marriage. Lucius wrote of the camaraderie among soldiers, the thrill of battle, but also the quiet moments of longing when the stars twinkled overhead, reminding him of her. In her chambers, Claudia would read each letter by candlelight, the flickering flames illuminating the words that spoke of dreams and hope. She imagined a life where they could be together, free from the shackles of their social standings. But as the days of her wedding approached, the weight of reality pressed down upon her. The promise of love felt increasingly distant, yet with every letter, the bond they forged became a source of strength. Their love was indeed forbidden, a fiery ember hidden beneath layers of obligation and duty, yet it burned fiercely, illuminating the darkness that threatened to engulf them both. And so, as Lupercalia came once more, Claudia stood by her window, gazing at the moonlit streets of Rome, her heart beating in tune with the distant sounds of celebration. She knew that whatever the future held, their love would echo through the annals of time, a testament to a connection that defied the very fabric of their world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues across the bustling streets of Rome, Livia stood at her window, gazing out toward the distant hills. The festival of Lupercalia was upon them, a time when the air buzzed with anticipation and desire, yet her heart was heavy with the weight of her impending betrothal to a man of power. The thought of Marcus, the soldier whose laughter danced like the flickering flames of a torch, ignited a fire within her that no societal expectation could extinguish. In the shadows, Marcus penned his heart's longing onto parchment, each stroke of his quill a testament to the love that dared to defy the rigid walls of their worlds. "My dearest Livia," he wrote, "in dreams, we walk unshackled, beneath the stars, free from the chains that bind us." With each letter, their clandestine bond deepened, a sanctuary from the prying eyes of their families and the harsh realities of Roman life. Across the city, Aurelia stood at the temple of Venus, her heart racing as she caught a glimpse of Gaius, the son of the patrician class. Their brief encounters, though fleeting, felt like stolen moments from a play, where the stage was their secret, and the audience was the world that would never understand. With each glance, they wove dreams of a future untainted by the judgments of their families. As Lupercalia approached, the air thick with the scent of sacrifices and the cries of revelers, Livia and Marcus arranged to meet beneath the venerable oak tree, a sacred witness to their whispered vows. There, in the embrace of the night, they would carve their names into the bark, leaving behind a mark that would endure long after they were gone. The world beyond may have been relentless, but in that moment, love triumphed, a flicker of hope against the vast shadows of the Roman Empire. The enduring nature of love in a complex world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the cobblestone streets of Rome in hues of crimson and gold, Claudia, the daughter of a wealthy patrician, held her breath. Her heart raced as she awaited the arrival of Lucius, a young plebeian soldier whose ardor had ignited a flame deep within her soul. Their love was a forbidden blossom, nurtured in the shadowy corners of the Forum and in the secrecy of moonlit gardens, far from the watchful eyes of their families. The day of their first date had arrived, a moment cloaked in both anticipation and dread. In ancient Rome, the concept of love was intricate, woven into the fabric of social status and family expectations. Claudia was expected to marry a man of her class, perhaps a senator or a wealthy merchant, but her heart longed for Lucius, whose laughter danced like the gentle breeze that swayed the olive trees outside her villa. On the chosen day, Claudia donned a simple yet elegant tunic, the fabric soft against her skin, and adorned herself with a delicate silver brooch shaped like a laurel leaf, a symbol of victory and a reminder of her desire to defy the constraints of her station. She slipped out of the villa, her heart pounding with each cautious step toward the meeting place, the ancient ruins of the Largo di Torre Argentina. It was a sacred site, a place where lovers often whispered their dreams beneath the watchful gaze of the gods. Lucius arrived, his armor glinting in the fading light, casting a striking figure against the backdrop of crumbling marble columns. His presence was a balm to her anxious spirit, and the moment their eyes met, the world around them faded into a blur. They exchanged pleasantries, their voices soft as they spoke of the stories that bound them, tales of gods and heroes, of battles fought and won. They shared laughter, a melody of joy that echoed through the ruins, mingling with the whispers of the past. As they strolled through the ancient streets, they encountered stalls of merchants selling honeycakes and figs, the sweet aroma mingling with the salty air from the nearby Tiber. Claudia, flushed with exhilaration, purchased a small honeycake, offering half to Lucius. Their fingers brushed, igniting sparks that sent shivers down her spine. It was a simple gesture, yet it carried the weight of forbidden love, a love that defied the rigid social boundaries that sought to keep them apart. As the sun dipped further, casting long shadows, the festival of Lupercalia began to unfold in the distance. The revelry of the festival, celebrating fertility and love, beckoned them closer. Claudia's heart raced at the thought of joining the throngs of joyful celebrants, but the fear of being discovered loomed large. They watched from the fringes, enraptured by the sight of young couples dancing, laughter ringing through the air. But time was a relentless tide, and their moments of bliss were fleeting. Claudia knew her family was arranging a marriage for her, a union that would seal her fate and extinguish the flame of her affection for Lucius. With every passing day, the weight of that knowledge pressed down upon her like a heavy stone. As dusk fell, Lucius took her hand, his touch both tender and firm. "Claudia," he said, his voice a low murmur, "we must find a way to be together. I cannot bear the thought of you wedded to another." Tears glistened in her eyes, the sadness of their reality threatening to drown her. "But how, Lucius? My father's will is unyielding, and my heart aches at the thought of what lies ahead." In that moment, Lucius reached into the depths of his tunic and produced a scroll, an elegant letter, penned with care. "I will write to you from the battlefield. My heart will always be with you, no matter the distance. Love knows no bounds, my Claudia." As they stood beneath the stars, the cosmos bearing witness to their promise, Claudia pressed the letter against her heart, a talisman of hope in a world that sought to divide them. Their first date had been a tapestry woven with laughter and tears, a fleeting glimpse into the power of love. A love that could illuminate even the darkest corners of their complex world. In the days that followed, Claudia held onto that letter, the inked words a lifeline connecting her to Lucius. Though the chasm of social class and familial duty loomed large, the enduring nature of love would forever remain a beacon, guiding them through the trials of their separate lives. In a world that often sought to stifle their hearts, Claudia and Lucius discovered that love, in all its sweetness and struggles, was a force that could transcend the boundaries of their existence, echoing through the ages like a timeless melody, forever etched in the annals of history. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the cobblestone streets of Rome, Livia stood at her window, her heart a tempest of longing and despair. The Lupercalia festival, a time of revelry and unrestrained affection, loomed before her, yet the weight of her impending arranged marriage bore down like a leaden cloak. She thought of Marcus, the soldier whose laughter echoed in her mind and whose tales of valor ignited a fire within her soul. Each stolen moment they shared beneath the boughs of the sacred fig tree felt both exhilarating and perilous, as if they danced on the edge of a precipice. Meanwhile, in the heart of the bustling forum, Aurelia's heart raced as Gaius, the son of a patrician, approached her at the shrine of Venus. Their whispered confessions, filled with dreams of freedom and love unbound by social chains, painted a world where their hearts could truly belong. Yet, the specter of familial expectations loomed, shadowing their every word. In this ancient city, love was both a sanctuary and a battlefield, where the tender threads of affection were often frayed by the harsh realities of status and duty. As the festival commenced, the air was thick with laughter and the scent of sweet pastries, yet for Livia and Marcus, the celebrations felt bittersweet. They stole glances across the throng, hearts racing with the thrill of forbidden desire, knowing that each fleeting moment could be their last. In this world of grandeur and splendor, where love dared to defy the chains of class, their stories intertwined, a poignant reminder that even amidst the struggles of fate, love remains an enduring force, capable of illuminating the darkest paths.